All right, everybody. Welcome back to the Pleb Underground, the signal without the slop. I'm your host, Phil. I guess we should start off by saying a little prayer for Bitcoin this morning, right? Apparently, Bitcoin's dead, right? Only BTC. That's right. It's dead. No, it's not. Good morning, Turbo. Good morning, only BTC. All right, guys. Don't worry. We got some solid Hopium. We're gonna get back up there. We're gonna be happy. But as well, there's also some weird stuff brewing, right? We're maybe still at the then they fight you stage. Even though we're winning, we're still maybe at the then they fight you. Wallstreet getting ready to ban Bitcoin for corporations. What? I don't think that's going to happen. But anyways, we're going to take a look at that thesis. We got some solid Hopium, which you know what? I think we might have to. I was going to start with the whole Wallstreet getting ready to ban Bitcoin. But when I saw that we shit the bed last night, I'm like, you know what? Maybe we're going to start. Maybe we'll do some Hopium first. Okay. Just get everybody in the right state of mind. Anyways, that's right, guys. Bitcoin under attack. Oh my gosh. We are surprised. China FUD is back. Was it ever gone? New Bitcoin mining pool. We're going to take a look at that. Really underwhelming, to say the least. At least that's what I think. And you know what? We've got some solid adoption news coming out of Thailand and Switzerland. But before we dive into all that good stuff, we're going to give a shout out to the Pleb Underground sponsor, and we are going to be right back, dive into all these stories. Let's frickin' go, guys.
Pleb Underground is sponsored by Archimedes Emporium. Discover the pinnacle of precision engineering, starting with their Bitcoin logo wall clock, meticulously machined in Maine from a solid block of aerospace-grade aluminum, ensuring unparalleled durability and performance. Experience the difference of a product made without compromise. Head on over to Archimedes Emporium.
Okay. All right. Let's just do it, guys. We're gonna dive right into the Hopium first, okay? Dive right into the Hopium. So let's start off with this, right? What if you were comparing Bitcoin to Tesla to NVDA? Now, of course, right? We probably all wish that we had this chart over the Thanksgiving weekend, or for every holiday for that matter. But that's okay. We have it here. The link is in the show notes. Let's just zoom out and take a look, right? This is the kind of stuff that makes me bullish, right? Because zooming out is what it's all about. Because every single day, it's just a bunch of noise. But when you zoom out, you see the big picture. I had to keep the sound off, of course. But here it is, guys. 1 minute of watching this happen. Okay. And of course, when cherry-picked timelines are used, we can always sit there and say, Bitcoin's not making it. But take a look. It's glorious to watch. It really is. And it's funny because at this point, right, we're getting to like the 2020, 2022, and you'll see NVIDIA's going to pump, but then watch Bitcoin. That's like, nope. Oh, that's great. That's right, guys. Bitcoin's dead. What you're watching is the death of Bitcoin here. Yeah, as it continues to eat the world's value. Oh, look. Looks like the video is winning. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, there we go. Well, for now, guys, on the timeline, NVIDIA's winning, but that's okay. That doesn't bother me at all. I don't mind the video winning for a second. Got more Hopium, though. Don't worry about it. So we've got a model that says, hey, man, 194K by end of year. It's a fair value estimate. Fair value estimate, 194K by the end of the year. Okay, so 30 days. 30 days to do 100%. It's not doable. That's for sure, right? It's not totally insane, but there would have to be some serious moon juice for us to do the 100% in 30 days. But we could do it. All right. What if we're just repeating the past, right? What if we're just a bunch of Alzheimer's patients wandering around the circus? Bitcoin 2022 bear market correlations hit 98%. As ETFs add 220 million. So New research showed BTC price action on course to copy 2022 bear market, which means so essentially what they're saying is we're lining up to do a double top because that's what we did. While risk asset inflows showed signs of bullish turnaround. So we didn't have these ETFs in 2022. I look, you know, my Hopium, I'm thinking that this time it's different. I want it to be different. Let me rephrase that. I want it to be different, right? Why not? Why wouldn't I want it to be different? So November is among the worst on record for BTC price action, and the stock inflows are picking up, right? So we're seeing all kinds of bullish news about all kinds of developments, right? From regulations to banks and institutions readying the rails for Bitcoin. I gotta tell you, this is not what we saw in 2022. Nobody was really caring about this because all of the hype was around the yield products and these exchanges like FTX and stuff like that. So I want to say that this time it's different. I do want to say that. Okay. 3 things, guys, that we are not paying attention to. Or maybe you are. Maybe you are. These 3 announcements came out while Bitcoin was trading in the 80K range. Number 1, IBIT options raised to 1 million contracts, the same liquidity tier as major global equity benchmarks. Number 2, BlackRock Strategic Income Opportunities portfolio increased its IBIT position by 14%. And number 3, JPM IBIT structured link note, which arguably can be seen as an attack on MicroStrategy to a certain extent, right? I can't disagree with that. You know, we call it whatever we want. It's market dynamics. It's competition. I guess I'll leave it at that. The last 7 days were obvious accumulation points. And you know what, James? I like your brand of Hopium, sir. I'm going to go with this. I think it was also accumulation. I am not seeing markets. Okay, so I guess I'm going to go with like a blanket statement. Markets generally don't crash in fear. Markets generally don't fall apart when everybody is fearful. They usually, what we've seen in the past, they fall apart during exuberance. So I said this multiple times. I am not seeing the exuberance. I am not feeling the exuberance. Nobody gave a shit. Nobody gave a shit at 126K. I mean, like, it wasn't even like I remember the first time we broke 60K, okay, like in the last cycle. I mean, it was insane. People were losing their minds, right? Like, that's it. It was like, we're going to the moon, 250K, Bitcoin's at 1 million in 2 years. Like, it was nuts. It was nuts, the exuberance, right? And FTX was paying out all that yield, and all these people were making money. Freaking, what's his name? Damn it, I suck at sports ball names. Oh, well, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. The famous QB that I totally can't think of. Tom Brady, right? Tom Brady was doing ads, right? Tom Brady was doing ads for FTX. We had Mr. Wonderful, all these people shilling this crap. Thank you, Rourke, Brady. I know I suck. I'm not a sports ball dude. I was never one of those guys who memorized statistics. Like, I had friends who they knew every stat about every player that they loved, knew all this history and stuff. I just found it to be an incredible waste of time. But either way, right? Lots of people have fun with that, and it's good for them. But yeah, you know, the stars were aligning last cycle. That's my point, right? The stars were aligning. Everything was about to go great. We were going to the moon. That's when you know it's too good to be true. Okay. And right now, everybody thinks we're about to fall flat on our faces. So many, I shouldn't say everybody, but a lot of people are pushing that rhetoric that it's so over and all this stuff. And I got to tell you, I'm not feeling it. I'm not feeling it. So maybe, I don't know. You know, yeah, that's right. Bitcoin is our sport. Exactly. Maybe I am a sports ball dude. I'm a sports Bitcoin dude. Anyways, I don't know. Okay. Let's keep going here. Let's dive into the whole Bitcoin is under attack thing, because this is I think that this is a pretty interesting take, but I actually find this take bullish. I don't actually think that this is so crappy. Okay, so here's this post here from Shanaka Anselm Pereira, who's been putting out some pretty interesting posts. I don't always agree with what he has to say, but you know what? I enjoy reading this kind of stuff because it makes me think, right? It makes me question my own assumptions, right? Like this is, to me, this is the point. So Wallstreet is about to ban corporations from holding Bitcoin, not through Congress, not through the SEC, through an index rule. I'll just stop right here for a quick second. They're only banning themselves, right? Let's be honest, okay? Stopping businesses from entering indexes because they choose to hold a certain amount of their assets in Bitcoin. This is fucking nonsense. But it's okay. We will entertain this and we'll continue. On January 15th, 2026, MSCI, Morgan Stanley Capital International, will decide whether companies holding more than 50% of their assets in crypto can remain in global stock indices. Fail the test, and you are cut off from 15 trillion in passive investment capital permanently. Here is what they're not telling us. This affects 142 companies worldwide. They hold $137.3 billion in digital assets. Together, they own 5% of all Bitcoin that will ever exist. And of course, the tinfoil hat take is this mechanism will be used to sink Bitcoin. That's the tinfoil hat take. But the great part is that they don't control Bitcoin. So have fun with that stuff. The hit list includes Strategy, Marathon, Riot, Metaplanet, American Bitcoin, which is 20% owned by the U.S. president's sons. And I just want to make sure it's American Bitcoin that is 20% owned by the U.S. president's son, right? Not the other companies. Now, look at what happened this year. May, short sellers attacked the model. July, JP Morgan raised margin requirements to 95%. So far, no lies detected. September, the S&P 500 rejected strategy despite it qualifying. This is where I get into the nonsense, okay? So look, I know that as Bitcoiners, we want to believe that MicroStrategy is this like amazing silver bullet thing that is completely untouchable, and that's perfectly fine, okay? Like you believe whatever the hell you want. The reality is that was the first time MicroStrategy had applied to be part of the S&P. And if you think that old boys club is just going to let Sailor and Strategy wander right in with his corn, they're going to make him work for it, guys. They are, okay? And I wouldn't be surprised if it again gets rejected. I'm pretty sure they're up for it again this month, and I highly doubt they're going to even be considered, okay? And that doesn't mean anything. Doesn't matter. So, and you know, like I'm always a critic of MicroStrategy. So to me, it's just giant nothing burgers. So the whole thing about the Standard & Poor's 500 rejecting strategy despite it qualifying, who cares? That doesn't mean shit. That's not an attack, okay? So every single company that doesn't get into the Standard & Poor's is being attacked? Is that where we're going? Right? It's nonsense. November, JP Morgan warned of 8.8 billion in forced selling. Oh, you mean just before they got ready to announce their Bitcoin backed note? No way. No, man, that's so crazy. JP Morgan launched its own Bitcoin products to absorb the money. Man, that's crazy. Same banks calling this a risk are building the replacement. Exactly. Right? And it's always stable coins for them. Okay? It is always stable coins. They can talk about Bitcoin, they can sing the praises about Bitcoin, and this is what I've said 1,000 times, all of these institutions, they are all simply borrowing from the credit bank of Bitcoin. And when I mean the credit bank, I'm talking about the way that people perceive Bitcoin, right? Like, it's like, look, you don't have to trust us. Why? This thing behind me, Bitcoin. You don't have to trust me. I can be a piece of crap, but look, Bitcoin. If this passes, every CEO considering a Bitcoin treasury will abandon the idea. The model dies. Capital flows back to Wall Street through ETFs and bank products. The decision is 47 days away. Now, for timelines, okay, this post came out, I believe, like 3 days ago. So look, we're essentially looking at the week of January 14th, okay, for this. So just kind of keep that in your head in terms of, in your mind, in terms of price fluctuations. Right, we're probably going to see some type of momentum around that time. You know, either we maybe see a dump right before it, maybe we see a pump. I don't know, but I will say this, okay? For the people for the people that believe that this time it's different and that we may end up seeing a rally that begins, let's say, February, March. I was talking about this with the Angry Chihuahua yesterday. February, March 2026. To be fair, this type of an announcement actually would line up with this, right? We get a whole bunch of FUD pushing everything down into that period, right into mid-January. And then MSCI does the ruling and they accept those companies for indexes, and life just goes on. Indices, sorry. And life just goes on. And of course, we start to pump again. I don't know. Yeah, exactly, Rourke. That's right, man. You want in the club? Got to get on your knees and kiss the ring. This is always how it works. You know? It's always the same thing, guys. It's always and this is why I always say they want you on their team, but they are not on yours. And you only find that out in the worst scenarios, right? You only find that out when fit hits the shan, right? When fit hits the shan, you're like, my team. Not on my team at all. Okay. But don't worry, guys. Don't worry. There's more FUD. Okay, there's more FUD. Everything but the kitchen sink is being thrown at the wall to stop Bitcoin. And we are dead at what price right now? What are we at right now? Let's see. 85K. That's right, guys. China FUD. The banks are attacking Bitcoin. All this stuff dead at 85K. I don't buy it. Not buying it. Okay. Let's dive into the China FUD. Okay. So China says Bitcoin and crypto have no legal status and orders stricter enforcement amid rising speculation. Now, before we dive into this story, the reason why I chose this particular tweet is from Ragnar here. This was the reason I first, this is what he wrote, right? He retweeted it. This was the reason I first sold my Bitcoin as a noob in 2016. And now they're doing it again for the 18,674th time. Yes. Okay. Yes. I don't know if I've even ever said this, but I'm pretty sure I have. Because I've explained all of my stupidity. But yeah, in 2016, I did the same thing, right? As soon as I saw the China ban, I'm like, well, it's over. I'm like, it's only a matter of time before the US is going to ban it and the EU's going to ban it, and then we're screwed. And I totally did this. I totally sold all of the Bitcoin that I had, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to wait. I'll wait till something else comes out. And of course, right? What do you think ended up happening? We just pumped even higher, and I ended up only being able to buy back less Bitcoin. So that was my lesson. All right. So what's China doing? Well, what are they pretending to do? China doubles down on crypto ban as the PBOC issues warning on stable coins. Don't forget, guys. China runs a very tight-knit ship, right? They don't have a lot of, how could I say this? They don't have a lot of exits and entries into their into the little gated community there. So what are they afraid of, right? What are they afraid of? We know what they're afraid of. They're afraid of losing control. China Central Bank has reiterated that digital assets remain illegal in the country. Not the CBDC they're developing, though, right? It said cryptocurrencies and related business activities continue to pose financial risks and fall short of core compliance requirements. So if this sounds familiar, that's because it is completely recycled FUD over and over again. We've been listening to this for almost 10 years. Digital assets do not share the legal status of fiat currency and are not permitted as a means of payment in commercial transactions in China. Crypto-linked business activities constitute illegal financial activity under Chinese law. The PBOC singled out stable coins, saying they fail to meet standards for customer identification and anti-money laundering controls. So look, if you don't understand what's happening here, right? It's that China doesn't care about Bitcoin. They're not worried about this. They're worried about stable coins, and they want to make sure that whatever people are using, and this is not unique to China, okay, whatever people are using, they are going to be using Chinese currency. That is the end game always. And this isn't new, okay? Even though it's being recycled into the news as like, oh my God, this China FUD. China has maintained its sweeping 2021 ban on the emerging industry. For perspective, guys, when they banned mining in 2021, okay, They had over, I think it was a bunch of them. I don't remember how many of the miners moved to Kazakhstan or Kazakhstan. Okay. But within 6 months, the hash rate coming out of China was back over 16% again. Okay. So it's just fucking LARPing. Anyways, authorities have continued to prioritize development of its central bank digital currency. Of course it has, right? Because it's all about keeping control. It's all about keeping the gates closed. They don't want to have money leaving the system. As it advances the digital yuan across pilot regions and public sector payment systems. Yeah, it's always about it. It's always about their CBDC. It really, really is. Anyways, all right, you know the deal. Let's take a look at this Diamond Pool story. This is bad. Diamond Pool now open to all miners with with SOC 2 compliance and Stratum V2 support. Yeah, great. It's great that you're supporting Stratum V2. Obviously, no issues there. I think Mr. Hodl, he nailed it. Why do you want me to register for an account? You should make it as frictionless as possible for me to point hash to your pool. This doesn't make any sense for a public pool. And this is true. Not that I'm like such a huge Bitcoin miner or anything like that. I have a BitAxe. I have one of those Canaan S whatever nanos or whatever the hell. I had an S9 like 4 years ago, right? I tried to mine out of my basement and stuff like that. My whole point is this. I've signed up to multiple pools. I've never once had to provide an email or anything like that. I simply just had to use their information and connect to the pool. So KYC pools are just going to become honeypot pools. And I do believe, though, how are they going to get people to use them? They're going to pay you more. They're going to incentivize you to go to a KYC pool. That's the only way to do it, right? There has to be some type of incentive over a non-KYC pool. Very curious to see what they're going to do. I mean, pretty much all they can do is increase the payouts, right? So I have a feeling, right, like these KYC pools, they're going to subsidize the payouts in order to attempt to drown out the non-KYC pools. We're going to see what ends up happening, non-KYC mining pools. We're going to end up seeing what happens. But this is not good. And if people are cheering for this is not the win we're looking for. Okay, this is really not the win we're looking for. So, let's dive into it. That's right. They're moving to a 0% tax on local exchange gains. It's very specific, right? Because again, every country wants to keep, and I'm not blaming them for this, but every country wants to keep their economic activity within their own borders, right? That's not unusual. So Thailand has officially adopted the new tax rule, giving 0% personal income tax rate on capital gains from cryptocurrency trades. Okay, but only under certain conditions. According to Ministerial Regulation number 399, profits earned from selling or transferring crypto, such as Bitcoin, via exchanges, brokers, or dealers licensed by the SEC of Thailand will be tax-free from January 1st, 2025 to December 31st, 2029. Under the new scheme, individual investors who trade crypto through the SEC licensed platforms don't pay personal income tax on the gains. The exemption applies only if the trade is done on a local approved exchange or dealer, right? It's always about keeping the economic activity in the space under control, right? They got to keep it in their country, under their control. So here you go. That's the carrot on the end of the stick. It's like, hey, we don't have a problem with you doing this stuff. Okay, but we want to make sure that we're getting our piece of the action. Regular income tax rules apply to the same type of income for taxpayers who participate in foreign unlicensed exchange activity, right? So they're going to punish you for using other exchanges, as well as those who generate crypto income from mining, staking, and or airdrops. So again, it's like, hey, we'll give you that 0%, but you need to bring your activities in-house where we can watch. That's what it's all about. Okay. More adoption, guys. More adoption. What else? What else could be super fun with Bitcoin? Yay, the gift cards are back, but this time it's in Switzerland. Yeah. Crypto gift cards seen at Swiss post office today. I go to the post office probably once a week. I haven't seen them yet at my local post office here. But I guess in Switzerland, right, they've got some Bitcoin, and as you can see down below, they've got some ETH garbage, which doesn't surprise me. I don't know. The Bitcoin gift cards, definitely a step in the right direction. Definitely a step in the right direction. But it's kind of meh. You know, it's kind of meh. Guys, it's gonna do it. That's gonna do it for us for today. You know, I hope you guys have a great rest of the day. I hope that you had a great weekend. I hope that you had, if you were celebrating Thanksgiving, I hope that you had a wonderful Thanksgiving with your family, making memories and all that good stuff. And I will see you guys tomorrow. That's right. We are going to cover, I'm already starting to pull the story together for MicroStrategy's green dots. Yeah, of course. You know that I'm going to have obviously something to say about that, right? I can't not have anything to say about that because it irks me. It irks me. Anyways, guys, all right. I think he's doing the right thing. I'm not going to say too much right now. He's doing the right thing. That is some fault tolerance that he's doing there. I can appreciate that. But yeah, guys, have a great rest of the day, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Take it easy.